Hey, y'all. Welcome to Cross Politics.
He knows what camera to look at.
Thank you for joining us.
Look at you.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
What's up?
Hey!
Ooh, we got a great show coming for you guys. We're going to talk about the Barr investigation. There's some good stuff going on. It's going to get juicy real quick.
Barr's punching back.
It's like, what is it?
The Barr fight.
It's a CSI New York or something? I don't know. We also got the Bama Roll Tide.
Bama.
Hey,
Roll Tide.
Sweet home.
Alabama. We're going to talk about the
Out there in Georgia.
pro-life stuff coming out of there. And then we got Mosco Chief Police. Local politics coming on. James Fry.
Yeah.
We got a great show ahead
The
of you.
Chief of Police of Moscow.
Yes.
Wait. Time out. We ain't talk about this.
In the
Coming
studio.
We ain't talk about this. Whoa.
Well, we didn't tell you.
Yeah, unpacking.
No.
He cool with that?
We thought it was better this way.
You don't need a license in Idaho to carry.
Yeah,
Does he know that?
But
Yeah, he better.
I'm just trying to say.
we told him about podcasting while black.
Oh, okay. So he cool with that. All right.
Is that a problem?
We about to find out.
Hey, y'all, this show is brought to you by Tenacor.
That's fitting.
Tenacor
Moscow
is
Chief of Police.
an American design, development, and manufacturing company focused on creating concealment products built for every day. Tenacor designs uncompromising products that work. Their designs, like the Velo Appendix carry holster, are purpose-built to keep your gun hidden and optimize performance. If you believe in protecting the people you care about and practical everyday carry,
Absolutely.
then Tenacor products are built for you. Tenacor supports reliable guns trusted by professionals, including Glock, SIG Arms, and Smith & Wesson. Wesson?
Them too.
Yeah.
Him too. Both.
Them too. You guys both use Tenacor, don't you?
I do.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
One day,
and
one day I might be as cool as you.
it's Father's Day coming up.
Oh.
Father's Day coming up.
Ladies.
You got a dad in your life?
Ladies.
Yes.
Does he need a Tenacor
Sons.
Concealed
Daughters.
carry.
holster?
And there's many reasons to get Tenacor. I mean, all the precision stuff with the googly gob that goes here with the thing and that clips and but the main reason to support Tenacor is because they support us.
They're our
Yeah,
sponsor.
and they're one of our
If you
sponsors.
go there, you can use your code CROSSPOLITIC for a 10% off discount. Just in time
Whoa.
for
People get discounts.
Father's Day.
Attorney General William Barr,
He's about to be Saint Barr.
boss to you.
He's about to be Saint Barr.
he has appointed a U.S. attorney to investigate the origins of the Russia investigation.
He is punching back.
Yep. So if you guys remember, he's going to determine if the FBI surveillance of the Trump campaign in 2016 was legal. So now
They held him in contempt.
Yes.
And he says, "Oh, you're going to come at me?"
Yeah.
You done messed up, Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
He's coming
so good.
at them. He says,
Yep.
"You want to talk about this?
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to
Game
dig this
on.
up?
So
Let's dig it up."
So think about this. They have admitted that that there was spying going on in the Trump campaign. Imagine if they're
No, the Hillary campaign.
Hillary.
Hillary
I'm saying
was spying on Trump campaign.
That's fine. That's op research.
Yeah.
They've admitted that the FBI is spied on the Trump campaign.
Really?
Yes, that's what this investigation is. It says to determine if FBI surveillance of the Trump campaign in 2016 was legal.
Oh,
So it's FBI surveillance.
so it's something in a but wasn't that
Hillary
Hillary
provided the dossier files
dossier.
to go to FISA, and FISA gave permission to FBI to spy on the Trump campaign. That's what happened.
So it has to go back to Hillary.
Eventually, that's where it's going.
Right.
And pass Hillary to Obama.
Now, weren't
It's
there a
gonna go
couple
there.
of agents who were actually the spies?
Yes.
Were they FBI?
There was FBI agents who were spying.
There's two people. I think they were lovers or something. But
No. So those two people were involved in
spying on Trump's campaign, right?
I think involved. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I forget the names, but yes, I think
Page or something like that.
And they were texting back and forth how much they hated Trump, and they hope he never becomes president, and they're involved in, I think, the spying of
Trump's campaign, I think.
But but the thing I want to highlight here too is what if we said there was FBI surveillance in the Hillary campaign? What would be the Democratic's reaction to that?
Oh, that everything would be on fire,
right?
Them on fire.
Or there's FBI surveillance happening with the Obama administration.
How dare they do that to that black man? One of the things I do want to say though, anybody who does any digging on Hillary, don't you usually end up in a good situation?
Oh,
like 6 feet under?
I'm just saying we might want to pray for for Barr.
Yep.
Yeah, and
but he doesn't end up having committed suicide.
Can we just put some extra security guards around Barr while he's doing this?
I hope he.
I don't want him to choke on a steak or something. You know.
Yeah. Well, and another thing, just to point out. I mean, if anybody's interested, I mean, the Democrats have already started sort of trying to work up to a shriek, saying that there's a constitutional crisis related to Barr.
Right. And they're creating.
Right. But there's a great article on National Review called "A Tale of Two Attorneys."
It's really good.
Attorneys General. Comparing William Barr and Eric Holder. Remember, Eric Holder,
he was held in contempt.
Was also held in contempt.
He actually lied.
And it later admitted that he had lied. Under the Obama administration. This is the Fast and Furious thing that you brought up before, Gabe. But just read it. It's not a sensational article at all.
No,
it's just running down the facts, the differences between William Barr and Eric Holder, the way that the Republican majority house treated Eric Holder, and the way that the Democratic majority house is treating William Barr. It's night and day difference.
Yeah. So
deep in the heart
of Bama,
of Alabama. I knew we were going there. I was like, this ain't about Texas, this is about Alabama. So Alabama has passed legislation, new pro-choice. So this is just the House and Senate in Alabama have passed this.
Not pro-choice.
So the pro-life legislation.
Thank you. Get that right.
Thank you very much. And this legislation is going to require
it's the most strictest pro-life legislation that we have right now in America.
Abortion is just simply outlawed.
Yeah,
exactly. And it includes,
amazing.
Incest and
there's no exemptions.
Right.
There's
no exemptions. There was an attempted amendment to allow exceptions for incest and rape. That amendment failed.
Yeah.
And this had already been passed by the House. It's now passed by the Alabama Senate. And now we have how many days?
So the governor, Republican Governor Kay Ivey, has 6 days to sign this legislation. So we need to be praying for her.
Yep.
Pray for her safety,
boldness, and safety,
her courage.
Because the Democrats are just crazy on this stuff.
Not just courage to sign the bill, but courage to stand up and fight afterwards too. Not to cave, because this is going to get taken to court. They are going to run the full play on this. So we're going to encourage even afterwards if she does sign the bill.
They're going to challenge this in court.
There is an exception listed in the law when there is a serious health risk to the unborn child's mother. This is something that I think we can get a little bit better at. I think that this is what it's trying to leave room for is what we call ectopic pregnancies, where there's been an implantation of the fertilized egg in the fallopian tube or outside the uterus. We don't currently know how to save those babies' lives.
We're post-mill, we'll get there.
But we're working on it. But the thing that pro-life people should just start working on is just saying that's not an abortion.
Not at all.
An abortion is the intentional taking of a baby's life. In a situation where we don't know how to preserve the life of this little baby.
We're not intentionally killing it.
We are basically inducing labor
for
that fertilized egg to be born. And if we had some way of keeping it alive, we would. That's not the intentional murder of the baby.
Well, and part of also the intentions there is actually we want to save the baby and the mom.
Exactly.
And there's sometimes medical situations where even full-grown adults where you can't save, a full-grown adult or something.
There is
where
such a thing as triage. But that's all pro-life when you're trying to save as much life as you possibly can. And so I think, that's a little quibble, but you know what? This is a huge victory.
Absolutely.
And to your point, the thing that we got to get ready for now, and I hope these states are getting ready for it, Ohio and Alabama and Georgia, everybody that's doing this, is the fight. Because the solution is not the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade.
That's right.
Now,
we don't want.
We pray for that. We want that. But the thing is Roe versus Wade was illegal.
In the first place.
It was illegal in the first place. The Constitution, we are a constitutional republic, which means that rights are only granted by actual legislation. Right? And so the Supreme Court cannot legislate.
They cannot make laws.
And so, yes, we want it to be overturned, just like Dred Scott was overturned. But what we really need to do is we need to be girding up our loins to simply not care.
That's right. Absolutely. Also, too, I think that what's getting all the liberals really upset about this whole bill is the fact that doctors could be punished for doing an abortion. Imagine that, killing somebody requires, and look, I'm not saying I don't have any problem with this bill. I just think why don't we have the death penalty involved? Just saying. Anyway, I don't want to put him in jail for 100 years. The penalty could go anywhere from 10 years to 100 years. It's like if you kill a human being, we should give you the punishment that you would get from killing a human being based on the case law and the situation. Right. But outside of that, I still think it's the best win we've ever had for pro-life, and I'm super happy for it.
This law explicitly ties abortion to the Holocaust. It's listed in there. Yeah. Talking about the murder of Jews, the Stalin's regime and Soviet gulags.
Wow. Way to go, guys.
The Chinese Holocaust in Cambodia. It says all of these are widely acknowledged to have been crimes against humanity. By comparison, more than 50 million babies have been aborted in the United States since the Roe decision in 1973. More than 3 times the number who were killed in German death camps, Chinese purges, Stalin's gulags, Cambodian killing fields, and the Rwandan genocide combined.
Wow.
When we come back on Cross Politic, Chief James Fry, did I get that right? I remember.
Police chief.
He's chief. I'm not talking about Indian chief.
And we eat some donuts
with him. We eat some donuts and coffee with him. Coming up next on Cross Politic. Got me scared. Not feather chief.
No, you got it.
Chief. Okay.
Got it.
More Cross Politic when we come back.
Praise God for Alabama.
Way to go, Alabama. Keep fighting.
All right. Well, the rapture's not happening. The world is not about to come to an end. What do we do now?
If everything's going to end in the next 10 years, then what you've done is you've put a set of training wheels on evangelical Christians. I'm not alone in all of this. This isn't an individual. We're not an army of one. There's a community at large here.
Jesus bought this city, my nation, my state, with his blood. And so I'm working towards that.
Don't spill. Last time you did this.
No, what are you doing?
Am I doing this?
No, you're not. Here, give me your cup.
He's killing us. I don't know how to do this.
Okay, here. I'm gonna do this.
Okay. It's gonna drip.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
Take it. I can deal with this. I can deal with
Hey, you
this.
need to introduce.
Where? Is it this camera?
Just that camera.
Hey, welcome back to Cross Politic on the Fight Laugh Feast Network.
You're okay.
This segment is brought to you by the fact that I don't know how to pour
Coffee.
but it's going to be really good. And with us on this segment, we have the City of Moscow Chief of Police, Mr. James Fry.
Morning. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Why he here?
Are you nervous? Are you nervous?
No. No. I ain't do nothing.
You all should know he only jumped a little bit when he walked through the door.
Yeah.
Actually, when he knocked at the door, it was the nicest knock. It was just. I'm used to the. Like, where's the police knock?
You didn't know it was me, did you?
I had no idea.
That was his plan. That was his plan. You've been serving the city of Moscow as chief of police for how long?
3 years.
Okay. You graduated from U of I.
I did.
You've been here then for how long?
Oh, about 27 years now.
Okay. And you have a family?
I do.
4 kids, I think you said?
4 kids.
Are they baptized?
They are.
Hey!
You all right.
All of them.
You all right.
You all right.
You can trust them now.
All right. You gonna be all right.
Don't baptize your kids if you have children.
Wow.
I love it.
So talk to us a little bit. What is just first of all, just big picture. We haven't talked to you before. What does the chief of police do?
Educate us.
What is your job? What are your duties to the city of Moscow?
Well, the biggest thing I do, I think, is oversee the department. You know, every part of the department, policies, procedures, anything, tactics that we use, make sure that they're up to speed, ensure that we get our officers trained well.
You hire and fire?
Hire and fire, all the, the stuff that we like to do some of it and don't like to do some of it, but we want to
love firing people. When I was manager,
but we want to hold.
Hey, come into my office.
Yeah, we want to hold a high standard for the citizens of Moscow. So sometimes people do need to look at another job. So just budgets.
He's a police officer. Of course, he wants some coffee.
Yeah, and I see you got donuts for me, so I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I know she gave me the bottom of the barrel here, though. So yeah.
That's where the goods are.
Okay.
That's where
they picked those out, so I can't speak for the. I'll say that up front.
It's a lot of oversight, really.
Yeah. I
have 3 captains that oversee each division, but just make sure that things are going good.
What's the hardest part about your job, you think?
I think the hardest part is you're trying to please a whole bunch. Oh yeah,
that's the hard part about the job.
a whole bunch of different
donuts.
Entities in the city, and you're trying to serve them all with the same levelness and fairness.
Yeah, be fair, be equitable, and listen to them.
Yeah,
because they all have different interests. And
how do you do that without playing politics?
Well, I think you just do it and you treat everybody with respect, and you don't get into the politics. You stay with. I have a job to do, and I have guidelines that give me the stipulations of what I do. So I just continue to do that.
Okay. Yeah. So we got this bond coming up.
We do.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, May 20th.
I just found out.
You need to know
next
about
Tuesday,
that.
Moscow, we got to vote.
And as Christians, we see most Christians would see the police as a biblically lawful governmental role in our society.
Yes.
So I don't have a problem, paying taxes for the police chief. I'd have a problem.
Good, because you're going to pay for him anyway.
Either way.
That's right. Yeah.
It don't matter. But I'm just saying my conscience is good with it too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, we for example, I'm not a big fan of paying taxes to support public schools. Mm-hmm. I don't mind if other people want to do that, but I don't personally want to use my money to pay for schools that I'm not using. I'd prefer.
We just don't. We believe the government's role is to enact justice, keep the peace, and bring equal weights and measures to justice.
Sure.
And so the family's role is to educate children. So we believe those distinct roles. Anyways,
$9.6 million bond is the proposal that would be paid out over 10 years.
That's correct.
So I understand. Why do you think this is important for Moscow?
Well, I think it's there's many reasons it's important. The first one, though, is everybody takes pride in a new facility. And our officers will take pride. Now we've been working on this for probably 40 years now, trying to get a new police department.
You've been working on it for 40. That was actually one of my questions.
Not me personally, but
yeah.
I'm probably the fifth chief to work towards this.
Wow.
So this isn't something that's new.
He's bragging about
himself. Has there been any success in this process of 40 years?
Now say that again.
Has there been any success in the process of 40 years?
This is the farthest along we've ever gotten.
Really? So
why do you think it's taken this long?
I don't know. That's a very good question because the need's always been there. But we really have the need now because we are overcrowded. We don't have the space to store our equipment. We don't have the space we have 4 sergeants in one office. There's 4 of us in here.
Right.
And if I had an office this big, it'd be okay. But it's not. It's a 10 by 10 room.
We share this office. Anyway, would you go ahead and lean closer this way? I know it's hard to be that close to Gabe, but
eat the mic.
Is that better?
That's better.
I'm making him nervous.
Sorry.
No,
I'm good with it.
When did the one way go in?
I'm not sure what year that
in downtown. You mean?
Yeah.
For our audience, we have a 2-way downtown, but it used to be 1-way.
Yeah. Right. I mean, so one of the difficulties that you point out in the informational video that's online, we can share the link when we put up the show, is the fact that the current police station, is in a cul-de-sac.
That's correct.
And then once you pull out of it, which is awkward, backing out, and then you got to go around a circle. But then you go out to the street, and it's a 1-way street.
Right.
Which just seems crazy.
It's not just a 1-way street. It's a 1-way state highway.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's even more, congested at times.
Yeah.
And then we have the alleyways that we can get out of. But the problem with that is when you're rolling down an alleyway going to an emergency, you have people doing a lot of fitness downtown.
Right.
They're running around the blocks.
Pedestrians.
We have pedestrians everywhere.
My wife is making all her ladies run around.
Right.
My wife manages, does personal training at North Idaho.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, exactly. So, we're constantly watching.
She makes all the women run around downtown.
Just like Adam. Blame it on your wife. So when you guys come busting through that alleyway, if you're going 50 miles an hour, like how you got to stop somebody right? Yeah.
Number one, we don't go that fast because you can't. And there's mirrors up in the alleyway there if you look, so we can look down the sidewalks. But it's still not the best. Just backing out's a challenge. That we've had backing accidents, our patrol cars. So it's just not safe.
Do you write yourself tickets when you hit someone?
We call in another agency. So
yeah, you have to have somebody else.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Another agency comes in and investigates, and if the officer was in the wrong, he will get a citation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
and you said in the video that you've actually backed up, like in the backing up. The cars are all the police cars got to back up, and there've been some little fender benders.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, what do you say to the homeowners in Moscow who are already paying pretty high property taxes? Right. isn't, and the Moscow market is pretty high.
Housing market
is already
cost to buy a house is high.
Yeah,
fairly
average
inflated for Idaho.
$250,000 you're gonna spend.
Yeah,
at least.
So what do you say to those homeowners that are going to have to bear this? I mean, I see the numbers, and what is it, $150 more a year or something like that on average?
But if you had a $250,000 home with the $100,000 exemption, it'd be about $126 a year.
Yeah, and then of course if you're you own some rentals, Gabe, and so without the homeowner's exemption, it's more than that.
It is.
So my renters pay it.
Yeah. So I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think what we tell people is number one, come and do a tour with us. We're going to have a tour tonight at 5:30. We have some more on Saturday morning at 8:00 and 9:00. Come see what we're in. And number one, it's an old building, but look at how we've taken care of that old building. We've kept it up. We've kept good carpet in it. We've kept paint on the walls. We've taken care of the facility. So yeah, you're gonna pay for 10 years on this, but in the end, you're still gonna have a nice facility because we take care of the equipment that we have and the facilities we're in.
Mm-hmm. So 40 years of trying to get a new building in some way, in some fashion. Why? It seems like the place that we're at now, was it just not forethought of thinking about how the roads were going to happen, or you guys want to cut it? How is it that we got in the position that we're in now, where we are needing $9 million to get us out of it?
So the city purchased that building, I think, in 1970, and all city government was in there. So the police had half of it, and then finance and everybody
else. The whole thing
else
was there.
Well, as we grew, they moved out. We took over the whole building. But just if you look at the different pieces of equipment that we have now that we didn't have back in,
like the tanks and stuff there.
We have no tanks.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to get you.
Yeah, it's close.
Okay.
But just like the hazardous material suits and the riot gear that we have, and we have different ceramic plates and stuff for protection of our officers. That all takes storage. We have a bike unit now, where back in the 70s they didn't have mountain bike teams and whatnot. So all that, we have to have room to store that and keep it nice. So
is it hindering our protection to have it in this, to have the police force still in this particular building at this point?
I think it is. And the reason is our response times are going to be slower at times. I'll give you an example. About 2 weeks ago, we were going to an emergency. We're backing out. We have a truck block in the alley down by by 3rd Street. We have a truck block in the alley by 5th Street.
Oh, so you can't get through the alley access.
Right. We have people in the square doing,
so we can't jump the curb.
So we can't. And a lot of times we used to cut through there, but we can't cut through there. Wow. We're trying to get out on Washington, and it's congested. And sometimes minutes matter. We know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We respond to all medicals. So it's not, we're not just doing police work. We're responding first responders to medical calls. We're doing CPR a lot of times on people before the medics even get there.
Yeah. Wow.
So minutes do matter.
Minutes matter very much in that situation.
But I agree. And I see the setup. And it's like, well, this would be easy. All I have to do, not trying to give anybody any ideas, but it'd be easy to block you guys in.
Sure.
It really would.
Mm-hmm.
But $9 million?
Well, what you got to realize about...
I get it. I'm with you. There's some change that probably needs to happen.
So we're going from a 9,000 square foot building to a 16,000 square foot building because we're building this for the future.
Right.
We believe the police department will grow as the community grows. Mm-hmm. So there's one reason.
Yeah.
The second reason is they're also going to take $1.5 million and remodel the old police department for other city offices. And then they're going to take
other city offices like.
So I think
engineering wasn't it?
Engineering's coming over, and community development's going to be in there.
So they're going to pay some of that too.
Well, through their own taxes, they will.
Okay.
But then another building's also going to be remodeled. The Paul Mann building is going to be remodeled, and we're going to bring our information systems back downtown. They're out at the Egan Youth Center right now.
Okay.
So we're going to get them downtown where they can go to work.
I just think Paul Mann should pay for Paul's building. That's just, who's Paul Mann?
I think he probably paid for it.
He probably did. Day. Yeah.
Now remind our audience, where is the proposed new police station?
So it's going to be just north of Pape Machinery on 95 South.
Okay, so going south out of town on 95 would be on the left-hand side.
That's correct.
Right by the Grove.
Right in front of the Grove.
Apartments and
between
stuff.
the Grove and the highway.
Okay.
All right, so we already have. All right, so here's what I've been thinking about bonds. I've been trying to think through it. How do I like this process? Do I not? I feel like bonds kind of politicize things that shouldn't be politicized. So I think if our police need a new building, then they should save the money and get a new building, and our taxes should go towards it. But bonds, for whatever reason, I think bonds are kind of a way of politicizing something that shouldn't. And part of the problem is like right now in Moscow, we got 2 education bonds on our backs right now. And then now we're fixing to put a third, police new building.
He's
bond.
from Texas. He says fix
So
it.
he said fix it. So you can, he's prophesying for you. He's prophesying that it's going to happen. So you can tell him thank you.
At the academy, I spent some time with some guys from Texas, so I understood what
Yeah.
you're saying.
He translated.
He got it. And so to add another bond on top of the 2 bonds, to me, it's like, it makes it hard for me to want to do a third bond, even though I can see all the legitimate reasons you're giving me. So
You're saying
I
you
guess
just can't handle the burden at this point.
maybe just kind of first address the politicalization side of this.
Let's look at the bond for the city. It's the only, they have no debt right now.
Right.
All their bonds have been paid. So
Yep.
I'm going to tell you the same thing that
Our bonds?
that city supervisor Gary Reeder says.
Okay.
Come do a tour. Come look at our facility. And if you feel we need a new station, then you go vote. And you vote whichever way you're going to vote. But
I guess I'm trying to get at the prudence of it. I agree. Like I have all kinds of needs at my house.
Or
Right.
the prudence of the process. So I watched the video. I saw how you guys are squeezed
You
in
guys
there.
are making it work.
I see the alleyways. I see the one way.
Yeah.
And I in principle, I say, you guys we need a new building.
We need to think
we
about
need to fix
this.
this problem.
I'm pretty well convinced of that.
right.
I think the question is more of like, but how do we pay for it? And why is that the most prudent way of paying for it? Why not put it in the budget?
Especially if we've been trying to solve this for 40 years. Why haven't we been just, let's say, saving for 40 years?
Well, and I'll
for
tell
this?
you why. Because 3 or 4 years ago, the city came up with a strategic plan because they started realizing, hey, we have to have a plan for some of this stuff. No different than the fire trucks that we just purchased, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody at their house.
Right. It's no different than you. You have a plan. You're building a house, right?
Yeah.
So you had to borrow that money to build that, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He put out for a bond in his neighborhood.
And we're going to pay for
We're
it.
going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it.
But see, it's no different of a concept. But the city came up with a strategic plan, and we identified some key areas of what do we need to fix and what we need to plan for.
Yeah.
So they started this 3 years ago, really as to getting serious about it. I think that's why we're at where we are right now. We have a city council that says, hey, we don't want to incur debt, but this is a need. So we'll incur debt for 10 years for this. So I understand it's the only way that the city can, save up for that. I mean, I guess you could save, $1 million here, but I don't know how well that carries over. That's the
You don't know what the budgetization process would look like for saving for 40
that'd be the
years or something
administration
like that.
side of things.
Yeah. To me, if we're working for good local government over time, to me that's something that maybe Bill and the city council should consider. Especially if we've known that, hey, we need a police
fix a problem for 40 years.
For 40 years, well, then, man, we could have been, easily putting away $500,000 a year,
right,
or whatever, for 40 years, and then now you got it paid in full. We've been prudent, and we don't have 3 bonds on the backs of our citizens.
Well, and I think what you're going to see in the future, because we know that the life of a fire truck, they're about $535,000.
Okay,
so they are creating. Where some money's being put aside
they're
for that.
saving for the next fire truck.
Yeah,
because there's certain needs that are expensive. So I think that is happening.
Okay,
probably in the last since I've gotten here, it's been about 4 or 5 years now. The last 3 years, Moscow has grown tremendously and exponentially.
It feels like it.
It feels like it. Only population, we've been growing about 1% a year.
Yeah,
hardly. So we haven't been growing in terms of people very much.
In one sense, I'm kind of, my heart's bending this way. Mainly because I'm looking at them post Moscow, the best place to raise a family in America. I'm like, hey,
don't be advertising that.
Hey,
stop it.
And I just did it on the show. I just said it, but
came out of my mouth.
Came out of my mouth. Wasn't trying to do that, but it happened.
And I think that happens for many reasons.
Yeah.
That's not just because of the University of Idaho. That's not just because of the way the city's run, but some of it is because of our low crime. And the way that we play a role in that, I think, just like our fire service is very adequate. We have a great volunteer group.
one of the things I keep going back to this, and so forgive me for doing this, but 40 years we haven't been able to convince Moscow that we need a new building.
Well, I think there was
to vote yes on.
I think the difference is there was a discussion for 40 years.
Discussion for 40 years.
So you had a chief of police who said, you know what, we need a new station.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it went any further than that.
Yeah.
We're finally at a point with a strategic plan that we're moving forward with it. We are saying, you know what, we're going to do something about it.
At what point are you guys not able to do your job anymore? Like, at what point we're just like, okay, guys, this is grounds. How far are we before?
Let's say the bond doesn't get funded.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to make do because you know what? We owe it to the community. We will make do one way or the other, but we can make do a lot easier and a lot better and more efficient than we do right now.
If the bond doesn't get funded, would you look at that as kind of like, oh man, the community's not supporting us, or what's the police station doing wrong that I could,
Well, I think you always feel that way a little bit, because this really does come down to the support of the police department and the support of the community and the city. So, I would feel that way a little bit, and I would evaluate things, but you've been all around different police departments.
Yeah.
What do you guys think
of
our
get me
police
started.
department?
Don't get me started.
What do you think of our police department?
I'm a black man living in Moscow. Don't get me started. I love what we have. I love what we have. I mean, let me tell you, I've been.
What do you mean?
He's in Minnesota.
I've lived in Minneapolis. I lived in Georgia, and the majority of the police officers there are black in Atlanta. I lived in Kansas City, California. There's been no place
good ribs in
like
Kansas
Moscow,
City.
Idaho. As far as
what do you mean?
So I've gotten pulled over twice here.
Yeah.
And each time I've gotten pulled over has been a delightful experience. And I can tell you, I've never had that before in my life.
Really?
I didn't feel like they were picking on me.
Yeah.
I got pulled over and the guy was like, hey, I just want you to know your tabs are expired. Have a good day. And I was looking around like, huh?
Right.
David had his hands out the window.
I was ready to get arrested. I was like, it's going down. Hey, baby, I loved you. It was just, and I think, but part of that is that we're in a small town where people know each other and people really do care about the community that they live in. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in larger cities, that can get out of hand.
Yeah.
We don't know the person.
Disconnected.
And so people have they're conscious about the people they live next to are decent people,
Well, you guys asked me, what's one of the roles of the chief?
Yeah.
That's one of the roles of the chief, is to push that attitude from the top down.
Yeah.
That we are community policing officers. Okay. We are part of the community. The community is part of us.
Right.
Now, if that's not sent from the message from me, it's not going to happen.
I appreciate that. I'm telling you.
So we do work very hard. We do a lot of community events. National Night Out Against Crime. We got the Lee Newbill Safety Fair coming up June 1st.
Right.
All these different things just for the community because we do care about the community.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to read more about this particular before they vote on it, when is it? Tomorrow?
No, it's next week.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Where's the website they can go to get all the information?
So
they
there's
need?
two places. You can go to the city's website, City of Moscow's website, or you can go to safermoscow.org.
Okay.
And that's a citizen group that is supporting the police department.
Okay.
That's really
And
helpful.
this bond.
And we forgot to say you're an FBI ninja now. you got a yellow brick.
I did get the yellow brick from the FBI National Academy.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
We got that right here.
We really appreciate you coming on Cross Politic, and thanks for serving our city.
Absolutely.
We know it's not the easiest job, and we appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
It's like being a pastor.
I hope this isn't the last time.
No.
You heard him. You heard him.
Okay, watch next time. It'll be a 3 rap and then a 2. Okay?
If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until Sunday, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politics. Sir, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
James.
it, guys.
Yeah, man. That was
Absolutely.
awesome. Yeah.